Hello there, and welcome to another round of TCOS. Taking a look at what the big storm stories are today and what to expect over the next 5 days. Yesterday's TCOS had Cody, what was left of it, an extratropical cyclone, Tiffany, a remnant low, and F1, which was an area that we had as possible development in the next 5 days in the southwest Indian Ocean. Now, as we do, we look across the whole world to see what's going on over the next 5 days. Well, here's the Atlantic. First of all, this big system over the eastern United States, obviously delivering all of that snow and windiness as well. Elsewhere, though, in the Atlantic, it's looking fairly quiet all the way through there. In the tropics at least, but then you've got that massive system. That's obviously late on in the run though, so that could change. Eastern Pacific then, let's have a look. I'm sure this has shrunk slightly. So, there we go. Look at that. That's an interesting little feature there. I think we mentioned this last time. That's been on the cards for a little while now. Hour 84, let's have a little look at it if we can. Although I don't think the thing will have caught up as much. Ooh, now that really is an interesting system. That is potentially a subtropical storm in the Eastern Pacific at the end of January. That is utterly unbelievable. Not even the end of January, that's on the 21st. Let me just check some phase diagrams with that, because this is the second time that's come up. So I do wonder whether we might see a bit of an anomaly appearing. Let's just have a look at the phase diagrams. That is actually a contender right there. I am going to mark that. This is really interesting. I don't think I've seen anything quite like it. This is worth marking at this point. First comes up at hour 72 there, and this is going to be G1. Just copying it over from F. Fill out the information. But that legitimately has a chance, at least 10%. And the position when it forms will be at 19 north, 131 west. We will leave it at 10% because of the amount of uncertainty around that. But that is seriously fascinating, as it shoots off there to the northwest. And that gets itself 2 points on TCOS. The Central Pacific then. There you can see it once again there. Look at that. It is going, and then it ends up somewhere towards the Hawaii region. Could even become tropical along that line there. That would be really ridiculous if anything like that did happen. But, well, only time will tell. The Western Pacific then. Let's have a look here. Fairly quiet. Lots of extratropical systems blowing up. That little thing towards the Philippines later on in the run, it's outside of our scope right now. The Indian Ocean is where we had F1 in the southwest, because GFS thinks that things will light up there shortly, although it's backed away. I mean, look at that. That's ridiculous there. 4 tropical cyclones and one over Australia. But that is 198 hours out. A lot of things could change before then. Before that, though, there's this potential system here at hour 30. That could be a borderline system. So I'm going to have to check the phase diagram for the second time today to have a little look at what they make of that. I think that's the one. It's close. Let's just check some simulated satellite imagery. What's it doing on there? Doesn't look much on there, to be honest. So we'll leave that off for the time being. F1 though, I'm having trouble tracing it. It ends up being that one there at 10 south, 61 east. That's at hour 120. So we'll put it there. although I'm not even sure it's the same system, and it's difficult to trace, but just because we already had it on 10%, it would be a bit silly to take it off after just one day. So we'll leave it there for now. You may have seen something over the Australian region, which is what we're going to touch on next. First of all, what's left of Tiffany still around? That's the one there, that 996. Looks pretty impressive on satellite imagery, actually, delivering huge amounts of moisture over the whole interior of Australia. To be honest, it's huge, looking at some satellite imagery on my other screen. So I could certainly buy that pressure being 996. 24 south, 128 east. We don't really care about Tiffany at this point, but winds there depicted from the model actually up to 35 miles an hour, although it will be gone very soon. 21 points still. But then have a look at the medium range out of nothing on 96 hours. This comes out and look what it does. 962 millibar landfall on day 7. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen, but because it does appear there, first traceable around the 84-hour mark, we'll be putting that on as well. So that's H1 on our code here. The 1 stands for the month and the H is just letter ordering for each system that we put onto our radar. So that is 8 south, 129 degrees east. What percentage should we put on that? It's more than a 10% for something as decent as that. Let's just take a look at the previous model run. It's there again. Previous one to that, it's there again. Before that, it's not there. So that's 3 runs in a row. We'll give it a 20%. And for its later impacts, early warning and all that, it is within the scope just. So it is going to get some significant points here, I would think. Just trying to work out all of the numbers in the algorithm. 26 points. That's before we've figured out the demand factor, which I don't think will change things much today. As we look on to the Southwest Pacific, Cody's quite easily visible there. Not much convection to it on the satellite imagery, but massive amounts of wind and presence, and it's passing by New Zealand right now. Not as strong as it would have been yesterday, around 50 miles per hour, 987 there depicted on the model. Currently located at 36 south, 178 west. Probably more 37 now actually. And as you can see, it shouldn't be delivering any tropical storm force winds to the North Island of New Zealand. So that score will be, well, it is passing by right now, so that will increase the score, but it's not going to be a code blue, I don't think, is it? Nope, there it goes. And let's see for any other potential systems then. We're obviously watching one of them, but as you can see, nothing really comes up at all there now. So let's look at the Southeast Pacific. There's a system there that tries to wrap round. 2 systems there as a matter of fact, and a third one later on in the run, but the uncertainty factor there and the long range of when they get sorted out, I don't think we're going to mark either of those 2 down just yet. So it looks like we're panning towards the Eastern Pacific being the most interesting story today. possibly moving forward. South Atlantic, nothing doing there. The European region, some strong winds blowing through Scandinavia over the next few days. Several windstorms blowing through there. Our neck of the woods here in the UK, high pressure 1049 there. Surrounded by loads of strong winds and all kinds of stuff, but there's nothing going on in the Mediterranean Sea. So that's where we're at right now. The highest score goes to Cody, followed by H1, which is that possible thing for Australia next week, but I'm not sure how that will turn out just yet. Factor in the demand, the scores will drop just a tiny bit. Maybe, I'm not sure if they did at all there. But there's our latest TCOS, unclassified, but a very interesting unclassified, if I do say so myself. And that's all we have here for now. We'll have another TCOS update at the same time tomorrow.